Rain is the ultimate equalizer. You can be the toughest survivalist on the planet, but when the sky opens up and the temperature drops, the forest turns into a machine designed to extract your body heat. In a dry environment, fire is a luxury. In a pouring rainstorm, fire is the difference between a rough night, a permanent system shutdown. When your clothes are soaked, your core temperature begins to nosedive. If you cannot generate external heat to dry your layers and reboot your internal furnace, you are on a fast track to a terminal outcome. The woods look dead, wet, and impossible, but that is an illusion. Today, I am downloading 10 high-level secrets for starting a fire when the world is drowning. We are going to cover the physics of tree anatomy, how to exploit chemical compounds hidden in bark, and how to use your own body as a kiln. These are not campfire tips, these are thermal engineering protocols. You need to stick with me until the very end because technique number 10 is the grand finale. It is a controversial, high-velocity method called the Cartridge Flash. It involves disassembling a weapon to harvest a volatile propellant. It is dangerous, it is desperate, and if you mishandle it, you could lose your eyesight or your fingers. But it is the only way to create instant 3,000-degree heat when nature is trying to extinguish you. Let's get to work. Number 1. The Snag Protocol. You are walking through the soaking wet forest. The ground is covered in sticks. You start picking them up. This is your first fatal error. The science of a sponge, wood that is lying on the ground is dead matter in direct contact with the earth. The earth is a moisture battery. Through capillary action and gravity, every stick on the forest floor sucks up water like a sponge. Even if it looks dry on the outside, the cellular structure is 90% saturated. If you try to light this, it will hiss, steam, and smoke. That steam is energy leaving the wood, taking your heat with it. It creates a thermal deficit. The pro solution, you must ignore the ground entirely. Look up. You are looking for snags. These are dead branches that have gotten caught in the canopy or dead trees that are still standing upright. Because they are vertical, gravity has been draining the water out of them for months. They are not touching the wet earth. To test it, grab the branch and snap it. It needs to make a sharp, crisp crack sound. If it bends, it is wet or green. If it snaps like a gunshot, it is dry fuel waiting to be harvested. Number 2. The Heartwood Excavation. You have your wood, the bark is soaking wet from the storm. You try to light it, and the flame dies. You feel the panic rising. The sensory frustration, rain usually only penetrates the first quarter inch of a log. Inside that wet, slimy exterior is a wolt of bone-dry timber that has been protected by the outer layers. The problem is most people try to burn the wet shell. This is like trying to light a bucket of water. The hissing sound of wet wood is the sound of your morale breaking. The pro solution, you need to perform surgery. Take your survival knife and a heavy baton, a thick stick. Drive your knife through the wet log vertically. Split it open, then split it again. You are excavating the heartwood. This inner core is dry, light-colored, and ready to burn. Discard the wet bark and the outer rings. Build your fire using only these inner, splintered pieces. You are essentially mining for dry fuel inside a wet mountain. Number 3. The Betulin Chemistry. You are in a birch forest. Everything is dripping. You think it's hopeless. You are wrong. You are surrounded by rocket fuel. The chemical advantage, birch bark contains a unique organic compound called betulin. This is a hydrophobic terpene, a natural oil that repels water. It preserves the tree, but for us, it is a miracle. Because of this oil, birch bark will catch a spark and burn vigorously even if it has been submerged in a lake for a week. It doesn't care about water. The pro solution, find a fallen birch tree. Do not strip a living tree, unless it is a life or death emergency, as it harms the resource. Peel off sheets of the paper like bark. Do not just light the sheet, you must process it. Rub it between your hands, tear it, and fluff it up until it looks like a ball of cotton candy. This increases the surface area and exposes the oils to the oxygen. Strike your ferro rod into this fluff. It will erupt into a black, oily smoke and a hot flame instantly. It is nature's napalm. This chemical reaction is powerful, but it pales in comparison to the explosive energy we will unleash in number 10. Number 4. The Platform Isolation. You get a flame going on the ground. You turn your back to get more wood, and when you turn around, the fire is out. The thermodynamic theft, the ground is cold and wet. If you build your fire directly on the mud or wet snow, two things happen. First, the ground sucks the heat out of your coal via conduction. Second, the heat from the fire vaporizes the water in the mud, turning it into steam. This steam rises up through your fire. cutting off the oxygen and suffocating your coals from below. You are essentially drowning your fire in invisible gas. The pro solution: you must build a platform. Lay down a raft of thick, wet logs or flat rocks. Make it solid. You are building a deck to separate your thermal event from the heat sink of the earth. Build your fire on top of this raft. This ensures that your coals stay hot and dry, and any steam generated from the ground is vented out the sides, not through the heart of your fire. Number 5. The micro-shaving ratio. You have dry heartwood, but you are using a lighter. The wood just won't catch. You are wasting fuel. The physics of surface area. In dry conditions, you can light a twig. In wet conditions, the ambient moisture in the air acts as a fire retardant. A solid stick has very low surface area relative to its mass. It requires massive heat to ignite. You don't have massive heat. You have a spark or a dying lighter. The pro solution: you need to increase the surface area by a factor of 10. You must create feather sticks. Take your knife and shave long, thin curls of wood from your dry heartwood, but do not detach them. Leave them attached to the stick. The curls should be so thin they are translucent light should pass through them. These micro shavings are so fine that they will dry out instantly from the heat of a single spark. And ignite. You need a massive pile of these. Patience here is critical. If you rush this, you fail. Number 10 requires zero patience, but the risk profile is off the charts. Number 6. The pine knot concentration. You need an accelerant. You don't have gasoline. You need to find the forest's secret stash. The resin reservoir. Coniferous trees, pines, spruces first pump resin through their trunks. This resin is flammable. When a branch dies and falls off, the tree pumps extra resin to the shoulder where the branch meets the trunk to seal the wound and prevent rot. This creates a concentration of hardened resin. The pro solution: look for old, gray, decayed pine logs. Kick the rotten wood away. Where the branches used to be, you will find hard, amber-colored knots that haven't rotted. This is fatwood. It smells like turpentine. It is 100% waterproof and burns like a candle. Shave this into dust or small chips. It will catch a spark when nothing else will. It is the gold standard of natural fire starting. Number 7. The Upside-Down Pyre. You have your materials. Now, you need to build the structure. The standard TP fire is a mistake in the rain. The structural flaw in a TP fire: the rain falls directly into the center, hitting your tinder. Also, as the fire burns, wet sticks collapse onto your fragile coals, smothering them. The pro solution: build an upside-down fire. Lay your largest, wettest logs on the bottom platform, then slightly smaller logs, then kindling. Finally, place your tinder and feather sticks on the very top under your shelter, of course. Light the top. The fire burns down. The heat from the top layer dries out the wet logs below before it ignites them. The flames act as a roof, protecting the coals. It is self-feeding and requires less maintenance, allowing you to focus on warming your body. Number 8. The body kiln preheat. You found some tinder, but it's damp. It feels cool to the touch. If you try to light it now, it will fail. The biological resource: your body is a radiator generating 98.6 degrees of heat. In a survival situation, you are wasting that heat into the environment. You need to harness it. Damp tinder requires energy to evaporate the moisture before it can burn. Don't make your weak. Match do that work. The pro solution: place a damp tinder bark, twigs inside your clothing. Put it in your armpits or in the groin pocket of your pants. These are high heat areas. Leave it there for 20 to 30 minutes while you prepare the rest of your camp. Your body heat will bake the moisture out of the wood. You are using your metabolism as a kiln. When you pull it out, it will be warm and dry, ready to accept a spark. It's a passive system. Number 10, however, is a violent, active system. Number 9, the Conifer Cap Umbrella. It is pouring rain. You have no tarp. You cannot build a fire in the open. It will be drowned instantly. You need a natural roof. The dry zone: large spruce, hemlock, or cedar trees act as massive umbrellas. Their branches are dense and layered like shingles. If you crawl underneath a mature spruce tree right next to the trunk, you will often find a dry zone where the ground is dusty and dry, even during a storm. The pro solution: build your fire here, but be careful. You are lighting a fire under a fuel source. Keep the fire small. Clear the duff needles down to mineral soil so the fire doesn't spread into the roots. Use the tree's canopy to block the rain while you get the initial flame established. Once it's roaring, you can move it or feed it larger fuel. It is a natural shelter. Number 10, the Cartridge Flash. This is the grand finale. This is the tactic you use when your hands are frozen to car feather sticks. Your lighter is dead and you are facing a terminal outcome from hypothermia. The concept: you are carrying a firearm for protection. You have ammunition. That ammunition contains smokeless powder nitrocellulose. This is not just an explosive. It is a hyper-flammable chemical propellant. The high-stakes risk. This is dangerous. You are disassembling a live round. If you strike the primer by accident, you lose fingers. If you burn the powder while it is confined, it explodes. But if unconfined, it burns with an intense, blinding flash of heat. The pro solution: take a single cartridge. Use your knife or pliers to pry the bullet projectile out of the casing. Pour the granular powder onto your prepared tinder bundle. Do not pile it, spread it slightly. Strike a spark from your ferro rod onto the granules. The warning: do not put your face near this. It will not burn like wood. It will flash instantly at over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It creates a massive, violet fireball that lasts for only a second. You must have your tinder ready to catch that split-second inferno. It works when wet, it works when freezing, and it works instantly. It is the ultimate cheat code, but you have to respect the chemistry, or it will be the last fire you ever light. Fire in the rain is a test of your will and your knowledge. Master these skills, and you can survive the storm. In the next video, we will dive deeper into emergency signaling. Subscribe so you don't miss it. Stay warm and stay safe.